Okay, so we are going to start. So, as I mentioned, this is about Student Welfare Club, which is one of the very prominent and contributing club in our college. And in a broader sense, it is very much prominent in the Siagat institutes. So I'll just walk you through what is the Student Welfare Club and how you will be getting benefited or how you can take benefit by being associated with this. So as we can see here, we can just read out this very beautiful statement. One second. We look after the welfare of the students in the college. So that's the thing. And we coordinate and orient programs for new students like all of you. And we help you to intake, and like we also help you settle in the college and get into achieve future milestones. So this is kind of a statement of our club. Yeah. So it boils down to this three things. This is our motto, and this is what we stand for. There's three aspects: character, competence, and devotion. So no doubt, all of you have proved yourself to be very competitive. So that's there. And but apart from this, being in the corporate world, I understand that there is a very importance of having a good character. That's one of the very important need nowadays. And no doubt there is a devotion, because whatever work we have to do, we have to do with sincerity, and there is a devotion involved. And also there is another aspect to devotion. So this is our motto, and this is what we stand for. Yes. So we have many guest speakers. I'll just you glance. We'll have a glance on few of those. So the very first one whom you are going to hear today is Mr. Anand Patil. He is one of the very senior corporate trainer with various companies. Recently, it is with Capgemini, and he was ex-associate director of Cognizant. So this is we are going to hear him today, Anand Patil sir. Yeah, we'll see the next speaker. Yeah, we can go ahead. Mr. Niranjan Pendarkar. He is also one of the very influential speaker. He has done his IISc Bangalore from Bangalore, and he is a distinguished engineer at Nutanix with many US patents. Yeah, and we have Mr. Amal M. Das. So he was among the top 1% of IIT Kharagpur students. So he's an alumni of IIT Kharagpur. He got 9.33 CGPA. So that's a huge thing. He worked with few corporates like Infosys and Adobe in his initial part of his career, and now he is a founder and CEO of Arjuna Group. So this is one of the very contributing group in India, Arjuna Group, for especially the student crowd. So Amal sir is involved in that. So these are, you can have a glance on this. If you wish, you can take a snap of it. So these are the various courses we provide. In future sessions, we may go into the detail, but these are like the sessions which not only give you a very technical stability, but at the same time an ability to perceive this in a very healthy way. So like one of those we are going to hear is in regards to mind, which is generally one of the concern for the students. So these are various courses and offerings for us. Yeah. So art of effective studies. So this is one of the prominent, like one of the prominent discourses which we try to present, because nowadays students they want to do hard work, but the problem is वो लोग ठीक से time manage नहीं कर पाते हैं या ठीक से study नहीं कर पाते, or they don't know the important aspects which we need to cover. So this is one of the thing which we did also, and which we are going to do also. So there is also online software training workshops. So for the SWC members, so some programs will be for everyone, but some program will be specific to SWC members. There's a Sambhashan context to bring out the inner, like to bring out basically our inner thoughts, and to get rid of the stage fear and all those things. So when we speak out, it gives us a nice confidence, and good exposure. So this is Sambhashan context which we conduct in our college. Yeah. And we are also into very much social welfare initiatives. So we give various value education sessions. and also some leadership sessions for, because now prominently the people of our age are going to the leaders ahead, so it's very necessary for the leadership training. So especially now we have many, we do it in Pune and prominently in Siagat College. Yeah, go ahead. And these are some of the we also have programs for teachers, some very motivational or very educational programs for teachers to which helps them to lighten themselves and gain some nice wisdom. So that's also there. We do conduct, and this all things which we showed last few slides are the things we conducted and which we wish to carry on in the future itself. In the corona time also, we didn't stop. Actually, because that was a time even this kind of wisdom was needed even more. So we used to conduct programs online on Zoom, just like we are having it now, and maybe this will be the new normal thing in the future also. So we have adopted that also as a student welfare club, and there are many much more. So with the interest of time, we showed you a small glimpse of what actually the Student Welfare Club stands for. So hope you understood, and definitely with the time you will be getting more introduction to this. So without any further ado, I'll just introduce you to today's speaker, and then for next 40 to 45 minutes, he'll address us along with few questions if it comes from your end. So the speaker name is Mr. Anand Patil, sir. So, sir is graduated from B. He did his ENTC from Pune University itself, and he graduated in the year 1997. And he did his Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC also he did, and then Project Management Professional, USA, CBAP, and CSQA from SIE. So these are our US certifications which he did along with his the BTech degree. So he has over now 21 years of experience in the IT industry. So it is like more than 2 decades. And he's currently working as a chief education architect at KPIT Technologies. So he is one of that. And at the same time, there's a training programs he conducts in various corporate sectors. So he has worked in various capacity before this. So he was associate director. He was in a director level for Cognizant. He was a solution delivery manager for Netcracker New Zealand. Then he was a senior project manager for Infosys, and he associated as a consultant for Capgemini. In a consultant capacity, also he contributes there. So he has an international work experience. Uh, can you please scroll down a bit? He has international work experience, having traveled and worked. Yeah, you may have to go again. Yes. So beside his like excellent, which we saw above, academic and professional life, he has that very innate desire to serve the society in a, what is the need also apart from the academical need. So he is prominently, active member of Voice, which is, which has a full form as Vedic Oasis for Inspiration, Culture, and Education. So he's very much active. He's kind of in a leadership or a, advisory role for this, and he is voluntarily youth, which is basically it is a voluntary youth forum. This Voice. So he has himself been a very great practitioner. Uh, can you go up? Yes. So yes, so he has himself been a, so he has read and gives discourses on various scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Bible, and even Quran. But he has, and not only that, but he has himself practiced, being a very great practitioner of this, various teachings which we see here, especially Bhagavad Gita. And owing to his like deep and profound wisdom of the scripture, is very much appreciated as a motivational for his motivational talk on, especially on the personality development, art of parenting, power of habits, needs of value for children, and leadership topics. So not only he is very much prominent in the youth, also he gives various kind of discourses for various ages. So, and because of this, he's been invited in various places: IIT Bombay, PICT, our college, and many places. So these are the topics, kind of a detail, so which we can you can go through it maybe later. So I think this is the introduction, but as it is said, the best introduction is when the speaker speaks. So I'll like to invite Mr. Anand Patil, sir, if you can start with your discourses by sharing your screen, and like you can take it ahead, Anand Patil, sir, if you're here. Thank you very much. So you're able to unmute yourself?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Anand here. Are you all able to hear me? You can just type in yes in the chat window. So I know you are able to hear me. Yes. Okay. Great. So thank you so much for taking out your time and coming for this session, which I think is an induction part of the induction. So it's good to see so many of you in good numbers, and yeah, we'll be discussing about one topic today. So we are going to discuss about art of mind control, which is basically how to focus on things and how to lead a life which is meaningful and having a peaceful life. So as a part of this, we'll be covering many topics, which is how to control how to have good controlled mind so that it doesn't affect us, our ability to perform properly. Because if your mind is not under control, you will have a lot of problems performing in your college, in your office, whenever you start a job. So we will be looking at what are the positive and negative effects of mind. What are the solution for controlled mind? What exactly does the mind do, and so on and so forth. So these are the topics we'll be covering, and the objectives are basically making sure our mind is a good friend of us, and we are able to control it in a proper way, right? So before we jump into this topic, we have a small video, 5 minutes video, which we'll be showing you to understand how exactly this mind works, and we'll be discussing that from there. So Rohit, you are able to share the video? Rohit or somebody from the organizing team?
This is it. Exam week begins. तो अभी बजे है 9:30, मतलब पूरे 24 hours, excluding nap time, susu time, Bombay times, let's say 18 hours, 17 chapters, 1 hour each, तो भी 1 घंटा बचेगा रिविजन के लिए. 100 में से 85 भी अटेम्प्ट किए तो 75 मार्क्स तो आ ही जाएंगे. टोटल CGPA comes around 7.5. हाँ सही है. लेट्स बिगिन. रानी, अनुष्का, दीपिका, सोनाक्षी. बुक तो बहुत मोटी है, शायद फॉन्ट्स बड़े होंगे. हाँ, हाथ गंदे हो गए पूरे, धो के ही आता हूँ. एक्चुअली नहा ही लेता हूँ, फ्रेश हो जाऊँ, फिर आराम से पढ़ूंगा. Midsem starts tomorrow. Will only study to not disturb. Excited. अरे प्रोजेक्ट तो ऑनलाइन, नहीं डीपी। एक कमेंट कर लेता हूँ, फिर आराम से पढ़ूंगा। अरे 2-3 किलो ही तो वेट बढ़ा है तुम्हारा, उसमें क्या होता है? अरे ऐसे कैसे बदतमीजों की तरह ऑफलाइन हो गई? इफ यू शेयर दिस पिक ऑफ सरस्वती समथिंग गुड विल हैपन इन नेक्स्ट 24 आवर्स। एग्जाम का टाइम है भाई, कौन रिस्क लेगा? शेयर। जय माता दी जय। ओ तेरी रागिनी एसएमएस का ट्रेलर। चलो भाई, सारे फर्जी काम खत्म, अब पढ़ाई शुरू। तो अभी बचे 14 आवर्स, 17 चैप्टर्स। 3 अगर नहीं भी करूंगा तो 75 मार्क्स अटेम्प्ट कर लूंगा। 65 अगर आ जाएंगे तो टोटल सीजीपीए अराउंड 6.5 तो हो ही जाएगा। पिछले साल से कम है, पर फटाफट 2 चैप्टर की लीड ले लेता हूँ। बाकी किसी ने तो स्टार्ट भी नहीं किया होगा। चलो।
तो 11 चैप्टर किया क्या तूने?
तू 11 चैप्टर पहुंच गया?
हाँ यार, सुबह से 10 चैप्टर कर लिए। 11 चैप्टर पता नहीं था डिफिकल्ट क्यों, बहुत टाइम खा रहा है। और ऊपर से 7 चैप्टर बचे हैं, ऊपर से टाइम कम है, रिवीजन करना है, पता नहीं कैसे होगा। चल मैं जाता हूँ, बाय। जिग्नेश, 11 चैप्टर किया क्या?
जेरोक्स कराना ना हुआ, तत्काल का टिकट बुक कराना ही हो गया। 3 घंटे लगा लिए। 120 पेजेस है, 8 घंटे है, 4 मिनट पर पेज। 50 मार्क तो आ ही जाएंगे, पास तो हो जाऊंगा, बाकी आंसर में निकालूंगा। ओह शिट 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 शिट, सिर्फ 2 घंटे बाकी है, पहले 4 चैप्टर ही अब तक हुए। शिट, मैं क्या करूंगा अब? जाओ जाओ जाओ, जाग जा, सब कुछ कर रहा है, बहुत कुछ कर रहा है। शिट मैन।
सुना क्या? मम्मी ने टीए से पिछले 3 साल के पेपर निकलवाए। अरे लास्ट के 6 चैप्टर से पूरा 90% पेपर आ रहा है। यार मैंने तो रिवाइज भी नहीं किया, बम्बू लगे हुए। चल मैं जाता हूँ, तू अपना देख बाय। और जिग्नेश, सुना क्या?
अब तो कैलकुलेटर भी कुछ नहीं कर सकता। प्रोफेसर के पास जाकर सप्ली के लिए गिड़गिड़ाना पड़ेगा। शिट। एक्चुअली दिस कैन बी अ ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज। कल के एग्जाम के लिए 26 घंटे बाकी है, यानी 2 घंटे का हेड स्टार्ट। पढ़ाई करना शुरू कर देता हूँ भाई, कल के एग्जाम में फाड़ दूंगा। एक्चुअली बिग बैंग थियरी का एक एपिसोड देख लेता हूँ, माइंड भी फ्रेश हो जाएगा, फिर आराम से पढ़ूंगा।
हेलो गाइस, अगर वीडियो पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक कर दे।
So, what you observed from this video is that the student was trying to study, but his mind was giving him multiple excuses, unlimited excuses why not to study. क्यों नहीं पढ़ाई करना चाहिए, इसके लिए हजारों उसको एक्सक्यूज मिल रहे थे। तो ये है हमारा मन, दिस इज अवर माइंड which doesn't allow us to do one thing. For example, we have this session today, but many of your minds is going on different topics. अलग अलग टॉपिक पे घूम रहा होगा, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है, क्योंकि जो हमारा मन है एक जगह बैठता नहीं है। तो ये मन क्या होता है, what is this mind is what we'll try to understand today. Okay, so we have a gross body which we can see, our hand, heads, everything, whatever you can see. We also have a subtle body which consists of the mind, intelligence and ego, right? मन, बुद्धि और अहंकार। और उसके अंदर फिर हमारा जो सोल है, जो हम है, वो होता है, जो इस पिक्चर में दिखाया गया है। तो बाहर का शरीर है, जो हमारा जो शरीर दिखता है, हाथ पैर वगैरह, and the subtle body is the मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार, and soul is the one which is driving all this. So this mind is part of the subtle body which we cannot see. Everybody's got a mind, but we cannot see the mind, correct? That's why it is very, very unique and it is very, very interesting the way it works, right? Let's try to understand how it works. So if you give an analogy of a computer, The hardware of the computer, which is the screen and the monitor, everything is the gross body. The software within the computer is the subtle body, सूक्ष्म शरीर, मन बुद्धि अहंकार, और जो ऑपरेटर है, जो व्यक्ति उसको ऑपरेट कर रहा है, that is the soul, right? So this is how we can understand the structure of our body. The hardware of the computer, gross body, which we can see, which we can touch. Software जो होता है हम लोग touch नहीं कर सकते. वैसे ही the mind, intelligence and ego, we cannot touch. And the operator is the soul, which is what we are, right? Now, how does the mind work? So the mind works through these senses. The senses, there are 5 senses total: eyes, nose, ear, tongue, skin. And we gather information. We see a new movie's advertisement and we think, "Arey, movie ko jana chahiye." And this information is then given to the mind. And the mind is a combination of conscious and subconscious thoughts. It's got a lot of thoughts, a lot of things coming in your mind, a lot of thoughts come in your mind. And also has got unfulfilled desires. We've got so many desires in our mind, right? Some of you want to become a successful engineer, somebody wants to go to the US, somebody wants to own a big car, somebody wants to own a big bungalow, and so many thoughts and desires are there, and we want to all fulfill those desires, right? And these desires are in the mind. They are there in the mind. You've got previous experiences. We have some good experiences, we have got some bad experiences, and these experiences play a lot on us, and we accept and reject through the mind. The mind बोलता है कि अभी नहीं करना, पढ़ाई अभी नहीं करना, बाद में करना. This is the mind doing it, right? And the mind is the one which is accepting and rejecting. Now, once the mind gets this information from the senses, it gives this information to the intelligence, buddhi. It gives the information to the buddhi, intelligence, and the intelligence is the one which is supposed to make a decision. The intelligence says, nahi karna hai, karna hai, whatever it is, right? That is the intelligence which is doing it. It's not the mind which is doing it. It's the intelligence which is doing the making the decisions. So let's say if somebody's got diabetes and he goes to a party and the friends, they say, "Hey, chalo party kar rahe hain, cake khao, gulab jamun khao, rasmalai khao, lots of sweets are there." And the poor fellow says, "Nahi, nahi, 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 mujhe diabetes hai, mujhe nahi khana hai." Right? Now, the mind is going to say, "Nahi, nahi, khale, khale, kya hai, pocket mein kya jata hai zara, khale." And the intelligence is going to say, "Don't eat, because if you eat now, you will have to go to the doctor tomorrow. So be careful." So this is the difference between the mind and the intelligence. The mind is the one which is tricking us, which is telling us to do things which we are not supposed to do. And intelligence is the one which will allow us to actually take decisions which are proper, like that. Okay, so let's go to the next. So modern society has advanced in many, many things. But as we are advancing, we are seeing a lot of things. We are seeing a lot of violence, unemployment. We're seeing so many murders, suicide, corruption, mental stress. So many problems are increasing. Divorce is increasing, drug addiction, right? Communal violence. Recently, the farmers are agitating, and there was some violence there in Delhi. There's public unrest, right? There is wars. India, Pakistan are at war. India, China is at war. And US, Mexico is at war. So many countries are having war with each other, right? Terrorism is increasing. All these things are on a rise. Steadily, these things are increasing. As if you refer any newspapers, these things are increasing steadily day by day. You don't see these things reducing. They are actually increasing day by day, right? In fact, Times Magazine says that there are 2 most important problems which the current society is facing. First is crime. The crime rate is increasing. The second is lack of morality, right? So crime and morality. Morality means being have values, having value system, not being able to do cheating, not doing bad things. So that is what is actually reducing day by day. People are actually cheating a lot. People actually, they are succumbing to bad things. वो गलत काम कर रहे हैं. ये 2 main problems आज हम देखते हैं society में, right? The number of people who are going to the jail is increasing, right? Number of people you can see. In fact, US has got one of the highest number of budget for jails, which means जेल में जो लोग होते हैं उनको रिहेबिलिटेट करने के लिए they spend a lot of money, and still they are not able to get it done. Right? More than 2.4 million people in jails. The gun sales are increasing in America. The murders are increasing. The number of rapes in Africa are increasing. Right? A child when starts watching a TV, the child from the age of 5 to 15 watches at least 10,000 murder scenes, or 8,000 murders and 10,000 or 100,000 acts of violence, right? Imagine what is happening into the mind of these children. They are going to become violent because of the so much effect of the TV, if you can understand, right? The number of drugs cases are increasing so many times in the European Union. You know which is the state in India which is the most famous or defamous for drugs? There the drugs are too much. Yes, that's correct. So somebody is written, I think Minati is written, it's Punjab. Yes, Punjab is the state which is the highest, which has got highest number of drug cases, right? So basically what is happening here is these bad things are increasing in the society. बुरे चीजें increase हो रहे हैं. Now these are the number of divorce cases in the US and Canada, and this is only for the cases where people actually get married. There are many cases where people don't get married. They just live with each other. It's called live-in relationships, right? Average number of suicide in Japan, right? Maharashtra was considered as the #1 suicide state in 2014. I don't know which is the country, which is the state now, but Maharashtra was the #1 state in the entire country. Nothing to be proud about. So the point here is, day by day we see these things are increasing. These things which are happening, bad things which are happening in the society, they are increasing. So obviously the question comes is, why is there so much chaos and confusion in the society? With so much chaos, can we have peace? Obviously we cannot. So one of the primary reasons of this is because our mind is not controlled. People's mind is not controlled, and that's why this is happening. So I'll tell you a true story. One time, one father in the US, he had two sons. One son was 7-year-old and one was 11-year-old. And he had recently brought a very costly car for himself. And he had parked it in the driveway outside his home. And the children were playing inside. And the children said, Dad, we'll go outside and play. हम लोग बाहर जाके खेलते हैं. And Dad said, ठीक है, बाहर जाके खेलो, but make sure you don't touch the car. कार को हाथ मत लगाना, क्योंकि नया कार था ना. Then the boys said, yes, Dad, we will not touch the car. And the boys went to play. After some time, half an hour passed by, the elder one came inside and he started saying, Dad. Dad looked at him and said, what happened? And Dad said, the child said, Dad, the younger one has crashed the car. As soon as the dad heard the younger one has crashed the car, he started really becoming angry. Gussa ho gaye, laal, gusse se aag babule ho gaye. And then he took whatever it came to his hand and he shouted, bring the younger one at once. Immediately usko leke aao. And then he used a vase, flower vase, jisme flower रखते हैं, और उसको दे मार दिया हाथ पे. And this boy started crying, 7-year-old boy. And blood started coming out of his hand. And he started really crying. And the dad, in a minute, didn't understand what happened. In a split of seconds, he did something which he should not have done. उसने ऐसा कुछ कर दिया जो उसने करना नहीं चाहिए था. And then he started repenting. By the time he saw the child is crying incessantly, रुकने का नाम नहीं ले रहा था, तो उसको उसने पकड़ा and he took him to the hospital. Hospital में लेके गए, bandage डाला, operation किया, सब कुछ हो गया, and घर पे वापस आ रहे थे तीनों. The dad were driving and the two kids are sitting in the car, and everything was, peaceful. The child stopped crying. The child asked the question, Dad, do you know what I wrote on the car? And Dad didn't have any answer. He was clueless. He was frustrated. He didn't know what to do. He said, no, my son, I don't know what you wrote on the car. And the child said, Dad, I wrote, I love you. As soon as the father heard this, he was in tears. He didn't know what to say. His son loved him so much that he wrote, I love you. And he is the one who actually hit his son. He couldn't imagine. He couldn't believe. वो खुद पे यकीन नहीं कर पाया कि मैंने ये सब गलत काम कर दिया. So he started becoming really, really restless. Then later, next day, the same dad committed suicide. उसने खुदकुशी कर ली because he couldn't take it. He was thinking, how can I do this to my child who actually loves me so much? इतना मुझसे प्रेम करता है और मैं हूं कि उसको मैं मारूं? ऐसे कैसे मैं कर सकता? You can imagine what can an uncontrolled mind do. So this person who was a normal person, so to say, he became so much angry, इतना गुस्सा हो गया कि उसने अपने बेटे को मार दिया, राइट? हाथ पे मार दिया और बाद में खुद भी सुसाइड कर लिया. तो इससे हम समझ सकते हैं कि दिस अनकंट्रोल्ड माइंड कैन डू एनीथिंग टू अस, कुछ भी कर सकता है हमारे जीवन में. एंड वी हैव आवर एक्सपीरियंसेस, ओन एक्सपीरियंसेस. जब हम गुस्सा होते हैं तो हम कुछ भी कर लेते हैं, राइट? Like that, the mind can have a damage our body. So what are the actions of the uncontrolled mind? People drink alcohol, people take drugs, people do gambling, they have quarrels, right? They murder, they rape, they should do so many bad things in the world, right? इतने सारे बुरे चीजें कर लेते हैं. Recently, I heard one lady divorced her husband because that person did not like her page on Facebook. Like नहीं किया तुमने, divorce. One husband divorced her wife because she was partying too much. बहुत सारी पार्टी कर दियो तो मैं divorce कर देता हूँ. Like that, people are nowadays picking up quarrels on very, very petty things. छोटे-छोटे चीजों के लिए झगड़ा करते हैं और फिर divorce कर लेते हैं, right? And this is happening now day and night. One time, one father came to his home, and his son's results were going to be announced tomorrow. He called his son. He was in 8th standard. उसको बुलाया और मारना चालू कर दिया. तो उसकी बीवी ने पूछा कि क्यों मार रहे हो उसको? तो उसने बोला कि इसका रिजल्ट कल है. हाँ, तो रिजल्ट कल है ना, तो आज क्यों मार रहे हैं? तो उसने बोला कि मैं कल गांव जा रहा हूँ, तो मुझे पता है इसका रिजल्ट क्या आने वाला है, इसलिए मार रहा हूँ. तो दिस माइंड इज एक्चुअली सो मच डेंजरस दैट इट कैन क्रिएट हैवक इन आवर लाइफ. हमारे जीवन में वो बहुत भयानक चीजें कर सकता है if we cannot control the mind. That's why you see these so many things are increasing. Why? Because people's mind are not controlled. Like the story I told of the father, he actually committed a severe crime because his mind was not under control, right? Like that. So with that, how can we have such a peaceful and happy society all around? It's not possible, right? So the solution to this problem is controlled mind. You need to have a controlled mind in order to be a peaceful person. इतना mind अगर control नहीं रहेगा, mind हमारा जो है वो इधर उधर भटकता रहेगा, एक control भी नहीं रहेगा. It is very, very difficult to actually understand the mind. Let's try to understand a question, right? So if I ask you a question, who am I? Generally, when I do it in a classroom, I actually ask the people, but now because it's online, we don't have so much time as well. It's very difficult to ask the question. So when we ask a question, who am I? So generally people say, oh, my name is so-and-so, my name is Vaishnavi, my name is, whatever it is, Hari Om, Shreyas, whatever, Omkar, Aditya, Atharva. No, people start giving their names. So I say, no, I'm not asking your name. I'm asking, who are you? And then people say, I'm a boy, I'm a girl. And then I said, okay, what else? Then somebody says, I'm a student, I'm a professional. So these things which we are relating to our body are temporary. Today you are a student. After 4 years, you will pass out of the college, assuming you study. Then you'll become a professional if you get a job, if you're lucky, right? So then the point here is you are changing your profession. You are becoming a professional from a student. So then what is happening is your status with respect to your body is changed. Earlier you were a student, now you become a professional. Like somebody maybe from Nagpur, somebody from Sangli, somebody from Kolhapur, and that person comes and lives in Pune or Mumbai or Bangalore, and then he becomes a citizen of that city. He says, I am a Punekar, I am a Bangalorean, I am a Mumbaikar. So his city is also changed. Sometimes people change their color. Like Michael Jackson actually did a what do you call, plastic surgery, and he was a Kala and he became Gora and fair and lovely laga. So the point here is people change things according to their body, which means we are not the body because we are changing as per our body. So Bhagavad Gita says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jvana taha dehantara prapti dhiras tatra mujyati. We are changing our bodies from childhood to youth to old age. When we were a child, we had a different body. Now we got a different body, and in old age we'll have a different body. But we are the same. You are the same person when you are a child. कोई अलग तो नहीं था, correct? When you become old, you will be the same person, which means when we leave this body, also we will be the same person, and we'll get a new body. एक नया शरीर मिलेगा हमको. कैसे मिलेगा? Depends upon our actions. It's very very common sense to understand this. अभी हम लोग का just, if the scientists say every minute old cells are dying and new cells are being born. हर मिनट में पुराने सेल्स मर रहे हैं और नए सेल्स बॉर्न हो रहे हैं, राइट? आज जो हम लोग कल नहीं रहेंगे, बिकॉज आज के सेल्स मर गए, कल के सेल्स कोई और रहेंगे. इसका मतलब ये है कि वी आर चेंजिंग आवर बॉडी कंटिन्यूअसली, कॉन्स्टेंटली बॉडी चेंज हो रहा है. इसका मतलब है वी आर नॉट द बॉडी बट वी आर अ सोल, आत्मा है हम लोग. तो अनदर एनालॉजी गिवन इन भगवद गीता, वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णानि नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. Like we change our clothes, we go outside, we wear some clothes, and when we come back home, we change the clothes, right? Similarly, when our clothes go worn out, पुराने हो जाते हैं, तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं? ये वाला फेंक के दूसरे कपड़े पहन लेते हैं, नए कपड़े पहन लेते हैं. Similarly, this soul, आत्मा, changes when this body becomes worn out. तो उनको और एक शरीर मिलता है, right? Like that. So, for example, this person, Sachin Tendulkar, now he can be identified from his face, although he is wearing different clothes in different pictures, but he is the same person. वही बंदा है, is the same person, but he is wearing different clothes. Similarly, when we worn out with this body, we get another body, like that. Like a car cannot move without a driver. Similarly, the body cannot move without a soul. It's like that. Another analogy given is a chariot, रथ. तो chariot होता है, उसके 5 घोड़े हैं, which are like 5 senses, 5 इंद्रियां हमारे. The reins, जो चाबुक का घोड़े का लगाम है, that is the mind, and the driver is the intelligence, and the passenger is the soul. तो जब तक soul is able to tell the intelligence कि इस साइड जाना है, तब तक the intelligence can control the reins and the horses. अगर soul loses the control of the mind and intelligence, the chariot will go in a different direction altogether. That is what is happening currently. People do not know how to control their mind. Their mind is become uncontrolled. इतना tension, इतना stress, सब कुछ है कि उनका mind control के बाहर जाता है. That is why they are doing things which they are not supposed to do. वो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? गलत चीजें कर रहे हैं, वो जो करना नहीं चाहिए, ऐसा कर रहे हैं, right? That's why we see so much crime, so many bad things happening in society, क्योंकि मन ताप कंट्रोल में नहीं है, मन काबू में नहीं है, तो क्या कर सकते हो? गलत चीजें हो जाती है. That's why you'll see a lot of people in the US, they take a gun, go in a school and सबको डर मार देते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि मन भटक गया, मन का कंट्रोल चले गया. So what is the mind? We talked about this earlier. Mind is like a software in a computer, right? It takes information from the senses, it stores information, and it asks the intelligence to check whether we can do this or not, right? Like that. The mind is such a thing which can do a heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven. This is William Blake. छोटी सी चीज को हम बतंगड़ बना सकते हैं. छोटी सी चीज है, उसके ऊपर इतना सोचेंगे कि उसका बतंगड़ बना देंगे, और जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है उसको भूल जाएंगे. That is the mind, right? So Krishna says, if you conquer your mind, मन को काबू कर लिया तो तुम्हारा मित्र है वो. मन को अगर काबू करना भूल गए या नहीं कर पाए, like that boy in the video, वो मन पे काबू नहीं कर रहा था, पढ़ाई करने जा रहा था, कुछ मन में और ही आ रहा था, and he was doing what the mind was saying. So similarly, अगर हम मन को काबू करेंगे, then the mind can be our friend. Otherwise, it will be our very very big enemy, right? चंचलम हि हमारे कृष्ण प्रमादि बलवादृढ़म तस्यम निग्रहम मन्ये वायोर सुदुष्करम. तो अर्जुन is saying, देखो कृष्णा, ये माइंड जो है बहुत डेंजरस है. It doesn't sit in one place. It is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very very strong. एक जगह बिल्कुल नहीं बैठता. कृष्णा, मैं क्या करूँ? I cannot, right? एक जगह हम बैठे कुछ पढ़ाई करने के लिए मन में विचार रहा है, वो मूवी कैसी थी, वो हीरोइन कितनी अच्छी थी, हीरो कितना अच्छा था, शाम को मम्मा क्या बनाने वाली खाने के लिए, इतने सारे विचार आते रहते हैं. तो उसको अगर काबू करना है तो we have to learn how to control the mind. That's the part of the story, right? And how can it be done? It can be done by practice. कोई भी चीज practice से कर सकते हैं. Okay? Can the mind be your friend? Yes, it can be. For example, is a knife good or bad? Right? A knife is good or bad. It depends upon how it is used. If the mind is not if the mind is not used properly, it can be bad, friend. If a bad thing. If it is used properly, it is a good thing. For example, knife को अगर चोर के हाथ में दे दिया, तो वो चोरी करने लग गया, चाकू यूज करके. That's a bad thing. But the same knife in the hand of a surgeon can serve as a good thing, because the surgeon can actually save a particular patient. It can save a life, right? And the same knife in the hand of a thief can be very, very destructive for people. Similarly, the mind is not good or bad. It is how we control it depends a lot upon that, right? So, for example, there are two people, and you will be able to understand the story. You can tell me the answer now. So, be ready to answer this question. There are two people, both studied in the same class. एक ही क्लास में पढ़े, एक ही साथ बड़े हुए, उनके कोच भी वही थे, दोनों ने क्रिकेट खेलना साथ में चालू कर दिया, and both of them entered international cricket at the same time, and both were famous, but one could not continue. एक नीचे गिर गया, he stopped playing, उसको टीम से निकाल दिया, and the other one continued to play and he became a famous personality. You tell me who these people are. ये दोनों में से कौन है? Anybody? Yes, Kaushal is correct. So Vinod Kambli and Sachin Tendulkar, right? So basically, Vinod Kambli and Sachin were started playing cricket at the same time. Both were talented with the same level, more or less. In fact, Vinod had a better record in terms of number of double centuries and so on and so forth, right? But because of his uncontrolled mind, he could not continue. He started going to the pubs, he started mingling with the girls, he started taking drinks, he started doing all bad sort of things, and uske karan wo niche gir gaya. He couldn't actually remain at the peak of success. Ek jagah nahi reh paya, which is because of his uncontrolled mind. Obviously, there are many other reasons, but uske karan wo gir gaya. Whereas Sachin Tendulkar, you will never see him in controversies. Kabhi bhi nahi dekhengi controversy mein phasa. Kyun? Because he's got a better controlled mind. So if you want to become successful like Sachin Tendulkar, how many of you want to become successful like Sachin Tendulkar? Use the chat window to type your answer. If you want, you can just say yes. If you don't want, you can say no. Yes, only 1, 2. Okay, many of you. Yes. So all of us want to become successful. Hardly there will be a fool who doesn't want to be successful, right? There are many fools in the society, and they don't want to become successful. So we are not bothered about them. We are bothered about people who want to become successful in life. We want to count our whatever our parents have done for us. We want to, whatever our parents have invested in us. जो भी हमारे लिए किया उन्होंने, उसका हमको, we have to be grateful. हमको उनको thank you बोलना है. उसके लिए we have to become a successful person. And what is success depends upon you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be Sachin Tendulkar, but you could be successful in your own life, like that. So in order to do that, you have to learn how to control the mind. यही एक टेक्निक है जिसके कारण हम शांत रह सकते हैं. We can become a successful person. तो क्या करना है? First step is do not allow the mind to wander away. Senses को wander नहीं करने देना है. जैसे आपका एग्जाम चल रहा है, and you are like this boy who was in the video. Exams का पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, and your friend calls you, and he is starting talking to you like a, लंबा बात कर रहा है. You tell him कि बाबा अभी मेरा एग्जाम है, मैं कल बात करता हूँ, और after the exam I'll call you. और somebody says कि अरे एग्जाम बहुत हो गया, चलो क्रिकेट खेलने चलते हैं या मूवी देखने चलते हैं. You have to control your mind. उसको पहले ही रोकना है वहीं पे. That's the first step. Withdraw them from wrong engagement. जो गलत engagement करने का प्रयत्न करेगा उधर, उसको रोकना है. Second is stop the mind at the thinking stage. जब वो mind सोचता है, any person when he does, before he does, he thinks. कुछ करने के पहले सोचता है, तो सोचता है कि हाँ मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है, and then he does that. So you have to stop it at the thinking stage. इग्नोर द माइंड। बहुत बार माइंड बोलेगा अरे नहीं नहीं बहुत सोना है, बहुत खाना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, उसको इग्नोर करना है, टॉलरेट करना है, उसको डिमांड्स को टॉलरेट करना है। लिसन टू इंटेलिजेंस, जो आपका जो बुद्धि बोल रहा है कि नहीं नहीं ये गलत काम है, मैं नहीं करूंगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल एग्जाम्स में कई बच्चे कॉपी करते हैं, अभी हमारे कंपनी में कई बच्चे कॉपी करते हैं और फिर पकड़े जाते हैं और फिर उनको कॉल कंपनी से निकाला जाता है। ऐसे हम लोग अभी 25 बच्चों को निकाला लास्ट 1 साल में। तो व्हेन वी टॉक टू दिस चिल्ड्रन, when they are caught and when they are kicked out of the company, they are very very sorry। बोलते कि नहीं सर हमको नहीं करना था ऐसे। तो फिर क्यों किया? क्योंकि माइंड जो है वो उनको बिल्कुल भी शांत नहीं बैठते। माइंड बोलते कि नहीं नहीं पढ़ाई करने की क्या जरूरत है, मैं कॉपी करके पास हो जाऊंगा। दिस इज व्हाट द माइंड थिंक्स। सो यू हैव टू यूज योर इंटेलिजेंस कि नहीं नहीं ये गलत काम है, व्हाई शुड आई डू रॉन्ग थिंग, आई विल डू द राइट थिंग। ऐसे दैट्स द सेकंड थिंग इज स्टॉप द माइंड एट द थिंकिंग स्टेज। क्योंकि हम कुछ सोचते हैं, when we do we have some thoughts in the mind, then we do, and after we do we have the impressions of the thoughts। जो हम करते हैं उसकी इंप्रेशन होता है माइंड में। जैसे कोई चोर है, जब वो चोरी करता है, लेट्स से कहीं पे घर पे चोरी कर लेता है, he gets लैपटॉप मोबाइल पैसा, so he is getting 1 लाख रुपीस पर एक ही दिन में। तो सोचता है अरे कितना आसान था, एक ही दिन में घर पे गया 1 लाख रुपए मिल गया, जॉब करने की क्या जरूरत है। So this is the impression which is creating in the mind कि झट से पैसा मिल जाएगा, and then he does it again। ये जो साइकिल है रुकता नहीं है, उसका सफरिंग उसको मिलेगा, क्योंकि पुलिस पकड़ेगा ना पड़ेगा, फिर भी उसके मन से विचार जाता नहीं, because cycle which never ends। thoughts become action, action becomes impression, impression again become thought। so we have to stop it at the initial thought level is the point, right? The power of thoughts, our altitude in life depends so much on our attitude, not on the aptitude। इतना aptitude पे depend नहीं करता, obviously aptitude पे depend करता है, पर attitude is what is more important, because if you are value centered, positive have, then you can become successful in the life, right? Like that। Positive thoughts जब आते हैं हमारे शरीर में, तो we get positive energy। Negative energy will bring negative thoughts, which will basically dwindle the mind। so how do we get positive thoughts? Why does the mind think negative? Because it's a GOGI principle, garbage in garbage out। if you watch unnecessary movies जो देखना नहीं चाहिए, all of you know what it is। if you watch unnecessary or read unnecessary articles or magazines, if you do all sort of nonsensical things, your mind is going to have the corrupt mind, and that is going to create a problem in your life। so how do we control this mind? We have got a 4 formula, ABCD बोलते हैं इसको। associating with good people, saintly people, reading books like Bhagavad Gita, Bible, Quran, whatever religion you're following, you read those books so that you can get good thoughts in the mind। third, chanting the names, जो भी आप लोग religion है उसके हिसाब से chant कर सकते हैं, which will bring about calm and peacefulness in your society, in your mind। and then having a good diet, घर का खाना खाना है। ये ABCD करेंगे तो हमारा मन है शुद्ध रहेगा, and you will be able to lead a very perfect life। the third formula is regulate your life and senses। you should have a schedule in life, कितने बजे सोना है, कितने बजे उठना है, कितने बजे खाना है, पढ़ाई कब करनी है। you have to have a schedule। like when your college starts now, there will be so many classes, there will be so many assignments, you have to have a schedule so that you can complete things on your tasks, right? Like that। step 4, understand the meaning of life by reading thought-provoking books। read about Shivaji Maharaj, read about Tukaram Maharaj, read about Lal Bahadur Shastri, Mahatma Gandhi। these things will actually bring positivity in your mind and help you to become a better person। associate with spiritual people, make use of good association। like that, if you do, you'll be able to have a proper, controlled and clear mind, which is not going to give you trouble। otherwise you will be under trouble। I'll give a last story and then we'll finish here। there's one software person in one of my ex companies, very big company in India। he was the senior sales head of the company, and he was posted in the US, and he was at a very very senior position because he was very very intelligent। he was doing fantastic job, so he was the blue-eyed boy of the company। so the CEO तो बोलता कि ऐसा होना चाहिए। but in the US, he went to his family, but he had a secretary, and he had an affair with the secretary, and this news got to his wife, and wife ने बोला कि देखो either she or me. या तो उसके साथ तुम शादी करो या तो मेरे साथ मेरे साथ तुम कंटिन्यू करो. By uh, doing this, he basically got into a trouble. So he fired his secretary, and the secretary sued this person. उसको कोर्ट में लेके गए, और कोर्ट में जाने के कारण उसको सारा पैसा अपना जो था $10 million उसको भरना पड़ा. Now, obviously, he lost his job and everything, but later he got another job and he became CEO of a big company. 10 साल के बाद same story repeat हो गया. He had another affair with another girl, secretary, and same story repeated. The point here is, it doesn't matter how much intelligence you have. What matters is what is your value system. कैसे हम अपने मन को कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं, which will define your success in life. The point here is, whatever is important in life is character, competence, and devotion. Character अच्छा होना चाहिए, competence भी अच्छा होना चाहिए. You should have good skills and you should have devotion to the work. Calm, devotion to God, devotion to work, like that. Okay, so we'll stop here now. And if there are any questions, we can take them. But I'll hand it over to the organizers. Rohit, I made you the host, so you should be able to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anand Patil sir. It was a very enlightening session. Especially, we got the insights about the mind, which is generally it is a hidden thing for us. We don't understand that how mind cheats us. So, however, the students may understand as the day pass in their college. So, hopefully, this will be helpful for them. So, really appreciate your time. You being in a very prominent position of working, but still you gave your time. So, we are really grateful to you, Anand sir. And now, uh, boys, all of you can just hold on the chat. So there will be one link shared to all of you, which is a feedback come attendance form. Yeah, so that will be kind of a feedback form you have to fill for this session, and at the same time, it will be an attendance form, because that's what we have to go ahead and give it to college authority. So please go ahead and fill that form, which Jnanesh Valvarkar has shared. It is a small form, and then you can proceed for a lunch break and then for your for further schedules. So thank you very much from our side. So this is done from our end. So all of you, please make sure that you fill that Google form. It is very important for us also and for you also, because this has to be tracked. The attendance has to be tracked. So thank you very much for your participation, and we wish you all the best for your future with SKNCOE and Pune University, and definitely we'll meet ahead in future sessions. And so thank you all. So please follow Nanesh Valvalkar's message, and you can join the respective groups. It's there. Okay, so you can join that so to get the further updates. At the same time, you can fill in the Google form, which is very important. Nanish, you can resend the link. People are asking for that, or the Google form link. Or maybe I can. Yeah, thanks, Rohit. So those who are done with the Google form, they can also drop from this call. The point is, you have to fill that Google form. That is what is going to track you in terms of your presence in this program. with the interest of time, we could not show you a very brilliant video, which is uh, being directed, composed, acted by Student Welfare Club volunteers. It's based upon the topic is me and my mind. So by that video, not only you'll come to know the intricacies of mind, but also at the same time you will see have a look towards a beautiful campus here, and at the same time get very nice, fulfilling knowledge. So that's that is what we'll be showing you maybe tomorrow or day after. So please stay tuned and join us. So as mentioned by the official here, the next session will start at 2. So please have your lunch and then you can join back at 2 p.m. But please do fill that feedback form. It is very important.